All right. Okay. Do you want to talk about anything before we get started?
How you doing?
We're live streaming now. Doing okay. We,
Aren't children wonderful? Teenagers especially.
oh yeah.
I love them so much.
Oh, did that post? That post that to IRC yet? That is the wrong URL. We are not doing knockouts.
Wow. Not just knockouts, the best knockouts.
The best knockouts. How did that get in my clipboard? That's weird. Um. Okay. Well, let's try this one.
Unusual accidental clipboard material.
I mean, I was watching that, but I don't remember putting it in my clipboard. There you go. That should be the right one. All right. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
It's going all right. Going all right. Long week. We're recording late this week. We're all the way into Saturday today. So everybody's been busy.
I've managed to screw things up pretty significantly for us.
Oh. I think everybody's just a little busy. I think it's gonna be crazy this entire month, actually. And I have a couple holiday parties to go to. So, but we did it. We made it to episode 39, if you can believe it.
Yeah, tried to kill us, but it couldn't.
Do you know? Does this year feel a little long to you? And can you believe we're already in December? First of all, really.
No.
I mean, Christmas is like warp speed ahead. But this year is technically 1 second longer than other years. Did you know that?
It's really felt like it too.
Yeah, you can really feel that extra second, can't you?
Yeah.
I didn't realize we had years with leap seconds. Like, I knew we had leap years where we had an extra day in February, but I didn't realize there were years with leap seconds. It was like a big deal.
Yeah, it's a little more arbitrary than the leap year schedule is. I think this one is the whole scientific community has to sort of get together and agree on whether or not it should be done.
Yeah, and it's funny because the reason I know about this is Google announced that they were opening up a public NTP Network Time Protocol server, and if you've ever done any sort of server administration, or you even probably with your phones, although phones you don't realize that's what it's syncing to, but a lot of times with servers, you'll sync servers to an NTP server somewhere. Just to make sure that your servers always stay on the right time. And now Google, I guess, they're opening up a public, and this is not unusual for Google. They did it for DNS. They have the public Google DNS servers. So Google's doing that now. They're doing it all, man. They're going to start manipulating time next.
I think they're just doing it to piss off North Korea.
Yeah, it's weird. I remember reading something. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but I remember reading something of the guy who maintained the code base for NTP, the NTP protocol, the NT protocol, and he was like this, like from what I got out of the article, he was like almost a bitter developer. Like he was not financially well off. He was the only one that maintained the project because it was such a boring project. Nobody wanted to work on it. And there was very little to do with it. And I remember hearing something about he was threatening to, or not threatening, just kind of announcing he wasn't going to maintain it anymore. And there was like nobody else around to maintain it. They're like, okay, who's going to do this? I mean, not that we are expecting anything to go wrong, but somebody's got to maintain it.
It's like threatening that you're not going to maintain your own car anymore. Everyone else just sort of looks at you and goes, "Oh, okay."
It was weird. This was years and years ago, so I'm obviously something happened where somebody took it over. But yeah, it's one of those things you don't think about until it's gone, and then you realize, well, crap, we kind of need that, don't we?
Yeah, it's a lot of surprising stuff runs on those NTP servers.
Yeah.
Things that need to have very very close sync times.
So how was your week back to work? I mean,
Oh boy, well, I got sick, so it's almost as if my
oh
body
no.
just responded for me.
And it's not that difficult for you either because you work from home too. It's not like you had to go into the office. That's always I remember those days. Like you'd get that long 4-day weekend, and then that Monday would roll around, and just be like, "Oh man, I can't believe I got to go back into the office." But
Yeah, and the thing about getting sick when you work from home is you don't have a whole lot of excuses not to still go to work.
yeah,
So I just felt like crap while working.
yeah. Typically, what I'll do is if I'm not feeling well, I might tell the guys I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I'm going down for an hour or two. I got to take a nap." But yeah, for the most part, you gotta keep chugging along. You're home.
Yeah, I ended up writing a lot of tests in Laravel,
Oh, really?
which yeah, Laravel is kind of funny because it if you follow the docs, they teach you not to do unit testing, but to do a kind of a form of integration testing instead.
Yeah.
And all our new system is heavily JavaScript powered, so none of that works at all.
So Adam Wathan uh, released his test-driven Laravel series this week,
Saw that.
and I probably spent a solid 2 days going through videos. And it's as bad as Laracast, man. You just start going through them. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Is
They're
it the
good.
nice,
It's a good
nice
series.
relaxing voice?
It's not quite as intoxicating as Jeffrey Way, but he does a good job. He's plugged in. I think looking through the course, I'm pretty sure he's going to touch on the whole JavaScript aspect of it. Um, I'll let you know what comes of that, but it's a great series, and we have Adam Wathan. He's going to be speaking with us at the Laravel meetup in January, so I'm really excited about that as well.
Yeah, I'll have to pick his brain and see what he thinks about the crash that is our system right now.
The crash that is your system right now.
Yes, the train wreck in slow motion.
It's like you see it coming, you can't seem to get out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to
Oh man.
besides accounting for leap seconds?
Yeah. That's been a huge part of my week is anticipating this 1 second in my life and figuring out what extra thing I'm gonna do with it. I'll probably watch porn. Yeah, that's usually what I do with my extra time. So I don't care. It's an extra second, whatever. If I have extra
Yeah,
time, I'm watching porn. That's what I do.
second on the clock is a second on the clock. You can't waste it.
No, we had a developer that stopped working. Nobody works for us. Everybody's a contractor. We had a developer that decided he wanted to get a full time job, and he left our little organization. Which I mean, it sucked because he I'm pretty sure had been with us the longest of any of the developers, and obviously had a ton of knowledge. Was pretty much the lead on one of our biggest contracts. So I've been kind of spending my last couple weeks, getting up to speed on a lot of the intricacies of one of our contracts that I've been kind of doing the broad brush stroke over the last year because we've had this other developer in place who's really managed it for us. So I'm kind of digging down into the weeds again and really familiarizing myself with the code base, and it's good. I like it. I mean, I love coding, so it's nice. It's just Yeah, when you try to juggle a lot of clients and make sure that there's enough work for everybody, it's hard to have that focus. But man, I do love it when I get time to code. It is hands down my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really have taken to refactoring. I love to refactor code. I don't know what it is. I think what it is for me, there's no thinking about how I'm going to do it, what the code has to do. There's a define, this is what the code does. Now make it better. And I've been getting into a lot of pages that were had an error, needed some modification, and just refactoring the hell out of it. And it's just so satisfying to take a, a code file that's 1,000 lines of code and knock that thing down to 200 lines of code. And it's just really kind of a nice feeling at the end of the day.
Yeah, and
and everything still works.
It gives you that chance to use all the stuff that you've learned throughout, the time since you've looked at that code. It's I'm gonna use a repository for this. That'll clean things up a lot, or stuff like that.
Yeah, and people have different coding styles, and I know one of the refactorings I did recently. I hate else statements. If else, I hate the else. I vehemently try to make sure my code does not have an else statement. And the developer who had done this one page I had to touch didn't adhere to that. He had no problem with if else, 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 else if. So it was a lot of I took a lot of pleasure in knocking out all those else statements and just having a bunch of if statements, or even fewer if statements. So it's that. And again, when you're a consultant or a contractor for a company, a lot of times you're coding in like firefighter mode. It's like, hey, we need this today. This isn't working, fix it. And you're not really thinking best practice or long-term vision or anything like that. You're just like, boom, let me puke this code out and get this working so this client can make money. And then you hope you have the opportunity to revisit the code and make it pretty. So yeah, I like refactoring code. I'm really enjoying it. You know what else I'm enjoying?
What's that?
I'm back onto the Vue.js stuff. I went to the meetup, the Laravel meetup, the San Diego Vue.js meetup, and they started a little project, and that was fun. And I tweeted out some Vue.js questions, got a ton of responses. As a matter of fact, Adam Wathen was one of the guys that responded. Taylor actually responded to me on one of my questions.
It's nice to be famous. People respond back to you.
And I'm really just starting to, I'm feeling like I'm getting it, and I'm trying to not overuse it. I think there's a new series on Laracast now for the Vue.js 2.0. At least I don't remember being there before. I popped over to Laracast and saw it. I'm like, hey, I don't remember there being a Vue 2.0 series here, and I hadn't watched it. You can see that in your queue, so I started burning through that as well. But man, I'm enjoying that Vue stuff, I tell you.
Yeah, actually, I think that series on Vue 2.0 is a free series right now.
Oh, is it?
I think
I need to say something to Jeffrey Way. I need to make a recommendation of making his free series more prominent to the people who pay, just so I know when I can share a series. Like I always have to open up a incognito browser window and try to go to the series to see if it shows up, because I'll want to share it as soon as I'm like, man, I'm learning so much from this, and I'll want to share it. But I'm usually a little hesitant unless it is a free series. And yeah, it'd be nice to be able to tell that just looking at the page somehow, that maybe there is, and I'm just missing it.
Yeah, when you're logged in, it doesn't give you that little free indicator.
Yeah.
Not sure why, but yeah, the current 11 episode series of Vue 2.0 is free.
Man, I'm telling you what, nobody can ever fault that guy for making a little coin on Laracast, because for every dollar that guy makes, he clearly gives away $2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the guy contributes so much to the community and to the well-being of, knowledge transfer and making people better at what they're doing. I tell you, you can never fault that guy for making a buck or two on Laracast. He's a great guy.
He's got merch too now.
What do you mean?
T-shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've bought T-shirts from him. Yeah, usually whenever him or Taylor somebody tweets something out like that, because I don't subscribe to any Taylor's services. His what's it, Envoyer and
And
what's his
Forge.
other, and Forge. I don't use any of his services, but I always feel like obligated to, if he releases a T-shirt or something, I'm like, yeah, let me give the guy some money, because I mean, so much of my business is built around Laravel now. It's insane, and so yeah, I don't mind paying. I don't mind paying for Laracast. I don't mind buying a couple T-shirts from Jeffrey Way or Taylor Otwell. They're good guys.
Yeah, they're definitely a good guy.
You go into Laracon?
No, you know what? I'm not going to make it this year.
They're a good guy. Listen to you. You're still on. You thought I'm not gonna let that go. Your whole Fight Club scenario with Taylor and Jeffrey. You've met both of them. Don't act like you haven't met
at the same time.
What's that?
I've met both of them, but I didn't meet them at the same time.
No, you think it's like a Superman thing where he actually changes physical appearance?
Yeah. No, I think there's definitely some sort of shape-shifting going on.
What was it? Oh, Laracon. Are you going to Laracon?
No, I'm not going to make it to Laracon this year. They decided not to have it in San Diego, so
you're protesting.
Screw it. Yeah. I'm protesting the idea of flying to New York.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, I bought my tickets, but man, I think the wife is coming with me. I'm pretty sure the wife's coming with me, so we're gonna have to get a hotel room. But man, it's just the cost associated to it right now is. It's times like this. I'm like, man, I wish I worked for somebody else who paid for this.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have this damn company I owned.
The Amazon conference is wrapping up their AWS reInvent. Is that what's called? Reinvent? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Are you a big AWS fan?
I know at some point I'd love to be an AWS expert, but I've never had cause to be an AWS expert of any kind.
Dude, I don't know how you can be an expert in AWS. They are just pounding the services out left and right, and just these services that you would just never think, like the layman out there would be like, yeah, caching as a service. Who the hell is going to pay for caching as a service? And you have us developers who are like, woohoo, caching as a service. This is awesome. They have so many of these cool, and they've got a couple of they announced a couple new products this year. Athena was one, which is like this. I'm really curious about how this is going to work, but so they've had S3 bucket storage for a real long time. So S3 is like this storage, like Dropbox, right, where you can basically put anything you want in there. And I've heard people use S3 almost as a data store, so almost like a CouchDB or something, where they just create these documents and it's a data store. And I used to always think to myself, I'm like, that seems very inefficient, because there's no way to interact with it. There was no way to index it or look through it. And I guess enough people were doing it, or there was enough of a demand, that they released this Athena service, which you can now query your S3 buckets using SQL. So you have like these SQL commands. You do like a select star, and you can query your S3 buckets now. I mean, how crazy is that?
It's just in case the terminology and everything wasn't confusing enough for S3, because I still couldn't tell you which service access layer provider my bucket container groups have permission to.
I was about to say
It is so bizarre.
Permissions has always been the thing I've struggled with the most with S3, is trying to make sure it's locked down correctly, but you still have access is such a challenge.
There's been plenty of times where I've had an S3 bucket and I've got permission set up so that my servers can access it, and I find out that everything can access it across the world because there's one checkbox in a hidden tab that you have to enable under advanced settings, and it's crazy to deal with.
They also released a service called AWS X-Ray, and I haven't had a chance to look at this yet, but it's touted as AWS X-Ray helps developers analyze and debug production distributed applications, such as those built using microservice architecture. So I'm kind of curious. I remember there was another product out there like that where you could kind of see like these real-time running apps, and you got like this feed of like the classes that were being called and the SQL queries that were being called. So it sounds like X-Ray is going to be like that, and I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I would never want to be the person who really needed this tool as part of their daily job. Reassuring people that your uptime is 100% is a job I don't want.
It's tough, yeah. But AWS does make it a lot simpler. I mean, we don't have any dedicated ops people, right? In our little group, and we have one client that's hardcore AWS. Like every AWS, Mechanical Turk, every AWS service this guy wants to take advantage of, and we've been able to manage a fairly complex load balanced, distributed, auto scaling environment with really no ops. Now, I'll say that
pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'll say that, but I will prefix that with the fact that I feel like the environment would be a lot better and run a lot smoother if we did have a dedicated operations person. But my point being, to have running what we have running now, back in the day, previous to AWS, would be unimaginable without a completely dedicated team, probably bigger than the development team used to run stuff on it. So AWS has really nailed it, and I'm kind of addicted to their services, and I don't even use. I mean, I barely use any of them, but the ones I do, I just love. And it's nice to have clients who are willing to pay for it as well.
Yeah. So, we're getting pretty close to Christmas here. We're into December now, as of our recording.
Yes, we are.
I
hear the sleigh bells jingling, ring ding dingling.
That's my cats.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard. Yeah.
So there's an interesting little advent calendar type thing out there. I'm not sure if you've heard of this, except that I am, because I know you pinned this item. But okay. 24 pull requests.
24, yeah. It'd be nice if you moved that over. 24 pull requests. This is very similar to Hacktoberfest. Which, did you participate in Hacktoberfest?
I helped market it through my podcast.
You helped market it through your podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't consciously change my behavior as far as trying to contribute to open source, but I did contribute to a few open source projects in that month, And I got an email from them saying, "Hey, we're going to send you stickers. What's your address?" I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. How do they even know to send me stickers?" And then I saw somebody else mention that if they said they're sending you stickers, they're also sending you a shirt. But I haven't gotten my shirt. I'm like, yeah, I haven't got my shirt either. I think I haven't actually talked to anybody who's gotten a T-shirt, so I don't know what happened. If there's something else you had to do, I don't particularly care. I'm not going to go fill out another form or anything like that. But I just thought it was interesting that they sent me an email to send me stickers, which I haven't received either. But yeah, so 24 pull requests. We're getting off topic. 24 pull requests sounds very similar to Hacktoberfest, right?
It is. I think it's a little more curated than Hacktoberfest was. If you sign up, then they give you a list of projects that need attention and could use some open source love.
Right. And the reward's a little less impressive as well. You get a badge on your coder wall, which
yeah,
I've
never.
even logged into my coder wall. I couldn't even tell you last time I've logged into coder wall to see what my status was.
Yeah, but they do have some events, and people can host an event and things like that that are 24 pull request related. And
We don't have a meetup this month. Maybe you should host a 24 pool meetup.
no, I think I'm gonna relax and let the fact that I don't have a meetup actually let me take it easy a little.
It looks like there's only 3 things going on, and nothing in the North Americas, nothing in the Americas, North, South, Greenland, nothing.
Hey, open source is a global community, okay?
Oh man, that's disappointing. Oh, I don't have time. I'm busy.
I'm busy that day.
Oh, wait a second. It was asking me to give it permission on my location. Let me see if anything's showing up now. Nope. Still nothing.
No. But now they know where you are.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to encourage people if you're going to, if you want to get into open source, feel free to do it through one of these projects, one of these efforts. But
yeah, I might actually hop into one of these during my vacation time.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to try to get more active, and I've been trying, but again, so many things going on. Oh, what I meant to tell you? I should go grab them. Hold on 1 second. Be right back.
All right.
All right. Where was that at? 29 minutes, huh? Make a note of that. All right. Okay, so as you know, you and I run the Laravel user group.
That's true.
And you also used to help me run the PHP user group until you decided to bail on me.
I did not bail on you. We got shut down by the man.
The man shut us down.
Yeah. We were getting too close to the truth.
So there's a whole mailing list of PHP user group admins. And then somebody got the bright idea to ask who had stickers for their user groups. And they started this whole sticker exchange. So if you went to a conference, you could get, they asked all the user groups to send in stickers, and I sent in a ton of stickers. And then if you go to a PHP conference that one of these people they're at, you can get stickers from all these different user groups. Anyways, as a thank you or as just whatever, they sent us a package of all the stickers of all the user groups.
Oh, Lordy, look at
So,
that.
dude, I mean, look at Vegas. Look at that. How cool is that one? I thought ours was cool.
Fabulous PHP Vegas.
Look at this guy. That's a big one right there. Most of them are pretty small. Most of them, like this is pretty much the size of a lot of them. Are these little dots that
The
just say
bottle
PHP?
capsized.
There's a PHP diversity, which
Ooh.
is actually the elephant that's selling the little rainbow elephant. We sent two sizes of ours, so we sent our large ones and then we sent our small ones, so they included those in the package. But I couldn't even begin to go through all these stickers. But I mean, just so many. I mean, just so many cool like shapes and who they are. So I need to go through and grab one of each for my personal collection before I take them to the user group to pass out. But I just thought that was really cool. I love seeing these stickers. I love seeing the logos that the different user groups come up with, and I just thought it was neat.
Yeah,
Thought it
I
was
love
worth mentioning.
seeing other user groups with more ambition and style than we do.
More creativity.
Yeah. It's here
You
in San
know,
Diego we don't have the time for creativity.
you know who came up with our logo, right?
Was you?
Yours truly. Yeah, yours truly.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
was actually very proud of it at the time.
It's good. It's a nice surfboard PHP logo.
Yeah. Now I see some of the other ones. I'm like, man, I could have done so much better.
Get this garbage out of here.
All right. We should probably talk about some news, right? There's been some news going on.
Oh God, there's been some great news.
I got stickers all over the place now.
First off is the bad news. There's no doom and gloom segment this week.
All right.
I know a lot of people
We're making
tune
progress. Your
in. Yeah, I know a
medication
lot of
must be
people tune
kicking
in just to hear the bad news, but
you know,
I'm afraid.
I watched the Trello board with bated breath. Like as you add stories, I'm like, all right, that one's positive. I'm good with that one.
I don't even watch the Trello board when I add content.
Yeah. Well, I go in there and see how often you and I have added the same story. Which we, you know, this is your fault. I'll wait. I'll wait till we get to it. I'll wait. We had breaking news. We had breaking news if we had recorded on Thursday.
Oh, I know. I felt so bad.
Yeah. So, but I noticed you put a link on there, which was actually a better link. But
I did. Yeah, I did improve upon your work.
Yeah. So, what do you got? You got some Git news?
I got a little bit of Git news.
I'm not even
Git
looking
2.
at the Trello board anymore.
Git 2.11 is out there.
What's that get me? I see what I did there. You see what I did there? That's Git.
No.
That's Get me.
Yeah.
2.11.
Should have seen it coming.
Get me.
Yeah, you know, as with all of Git's updates, I barely understand what's happening.
No, that's it. It's like, can I still clone, push, and pull? Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm pretty much good.
Does it work?
Until there's a change to those commands.
There's some stuff about auto sizing the short hashes and
don't care.
Simpler stash IDs, which that is pretty nice. I might actually end up using that.
Yeah, I can actually see a use for that. I don't use stashes as much as I feel like I could. But yeah, it would be nice to not have to dig through the stashes too hard. Be nice to be able to tag a stash. Oh, that's something they should do. Be able to tag a stash. Yeah, I should work on that. Put that on the list somewhere for someone, will you?
Put it on there. Yeah, given my generally poor knowledge of Git, I'm not sure if that's actually a thing that would make sense.
Yeah, there's some module diffs, things like that. Yeah, I guess maybe if you're really into Git, it's worth looking at. But for me, as long as I can clone, push, and pull, and reset hard. Hard head. He used that. Man, we tried to do a deployment. Oh man, I should tell you about this. We tried to do a deployment of Laravel. So one of John, who's still hasn't figured out how to work his mic. He's just screaming at his camera. On the last couple of podcasts.
He's been trying to mime his contribution in, and it's not working.
John and I came up with this architecture of wrapping Laravel around legacy applications, and how you could like start to migrate a legacy app into a Laravel app. And we'd come up with this with one of our primary clients in mind. And it's been a very long time of testing it, of tweaking the architecture, and defining a period of where we could actually implement it. And so we finally, after maybe a full year, we finally had gotten to a point for the Thanksgiving weekend, or the Thanksgiving week, where we decided to roll it out. And it didn't go so well.
No.
But what had happened was, in part of it was our fault for being a little too trigger happy, as far as being too nervous and thinking something had gone bad and stopping stuff. But what it was is we actually had included some migrations with this deployment. And the database is massive. It's a massive database. So the migration was just churning and burning through this one table, making these changes.
Yeah.
But everybody got nervous that something had gone wrong. And the load on the database was just going through the roof. I mean, we were like, the application was coming down. People were no longer able to get to the login page. So we stopped and we had to roll back. And man, we learned a lesson about rolling back, because the way we did it, we have a deployment strategy where every time we do a deployment, we tag the deployment. And the idea is, if we ever have to roll back, we roll back to a tag. But we didn't take that approach for this, because there was this moment of panic and stress, and everybody was doing 14 different things. We were trying to get the application back up. So we ended up, what had happened was a developer said, okay, I'm going to do a pull request that pulls the Laravel out of the branch and deploy that. And that's what he did. Instead of rolling back, he kind of pushed the branch forward. So what happened as a result of that is, the next time, it just so happened it was me. I refreshed my development branch from master, and I go to push to our staging server to test some code I was working on. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on? And like, my push to staging is changing like 40 different files. And we figured, it took us a while to realize that it was trying to roll out the Laravel deploy that we had on staging. And we're like, wait, no, I want to keep that there. And man, it was like a good 2 or 3 days of, okay, what do we do now? And eventually we ended up doing what we should have done in the first place, which was rolling back to the tag, and life was good. But
sure,
man, what I tell you, first off, I don't know where I would be without Git, and just having that ability to manipulate timelines, right, and move forward and move back. But yeah, it was a stressful couple days, and man, I hate those. We're hoping now that we understand what it was doing, I think we're going to try to do another deployment over Christmas break, because this client is heavily involved with schools, colleges, so these breaks really takes a lot of load off. It's not all that they do, but it's probably a good chunk of their business. And when the schools go on break, it takes a lot of load off the application. So probably try to do that then. But speaking of Laravel, guess what?
What?
Laravel 5.3.25 has been released. And I'm going to tell you what, the guy keeps releasing new features with these little incremental releases. It's like,
something really not sticking with December too closely.
Well, he is. They're not breaking changes, and but they're not bug fixes either. Like if it's point 5.3 point, that third point is supposed to only be bug fixes. It's not supposed to be. I didn't think it was supposed to be like new features. But yeah, they've added some cool validation rules. So now when you do a validation rule, you can do a before or equal or after or equal. So if you're like checking on a date, like if somebody's old enough to buy liquor, you can
Sure.
do you know, were they born before or equal to, and then whatever that date is. So there's that. He has also added some file permission functionality where you can set file permissions and view file permissions and things like that. But so yeah, Laravel 5.3.25 is out there. I'm sure it's probably up to 2.7 now, but yeah.
I'd have to check my phone, but I think it is. It is.
All right. So, what else has been released?
Oh, it's the big thing everyone's talking about.
Very exciting news.
Very exciting. PHP 7.1 is officially out.
It is out. It is gold.
Out.
It is gone. And
Available
so
now.
they have some. You came across a pretty good article that talks about some of the new features in 7.1. Do any of these like entice you, or I know
Absolutely.
you've been talking a while about wanting to upgrade.
Well, yeah, like I've said before, 7.1 is a version that basically finishes the work that was started in 7.0. Um,
Yeah.
it fixes some of the behaviors that they were trying to get all the way in uh, things like uh, typing, strong typing for variables and return results,
Mm-hmm.
uh, things like that. The first example of what's changed is the new iterable pseudo type. So previously you had an iterable interface, and you could say I'm expecting an iterable interface, uh, or you could say I'm expecting an array, which is not of the type iterable. It's
Mm-hmm.
not an iterable object. It's a construct. Now you can just say iterable as a pseudotype, and it will accept arrays or the iterable object.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I follow that or why I would use it.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, a lot of this stuff is for framework type developers or
Yeah.
large system developers.
Now the one that did stand out to me, and I thought was potentially had the potential of being confusing, and you tell me if I'm wrong or not. But what was it in 5.6, or I think it was in 5.6 where they did the you could use the square brackets in replace of typing out array and doing that,
Sure, five
right?
four.
5.4. Okay, I love that shortcut. It's made code look so clean. It's so easy. But now they're implementing that exact same syntax for list.
Yeah, it depends on where it is in relationship to the equal sign.
Yeah, and man,
So,
that just seems like it's going to be. I don't know. It just seems like it would be confusing to look at.
and I hated list before this too.
Yeah, yeah, I
This just
agree with
makes
you.
me
I'm not.
think I'm
I'm
gonna
not a
hate it
big.
more.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of lists either. And yeah, I don't know. I saw that. And I'm like, they couldn't have come up with something else. I
Yeah.
don't know what else, but yeah.
Well, and they also added a feature to list where you can insert keys for the listed values. So
But
with this new
that's an array though, isn't it? I saw
right,
that too. I'm like, but we have that already. It's called an array.
right. I'm not exactly sure because I mean, God, the syntax right here, it just it looks like, what are you doing? Why didn't you do a for each loop? This is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Now, the other one, and I remember you mentioning this before, but the other
It's
one,
a
good.
hmm, nothing.
Did I lose you?
Are you there?
Ah, there you are. You're back. I lost you for a second. Sorry about that. Let me make a note of that one. That was a big one, actually. 45, 45. The other one that I know you've mentioned before in the past was the nullable type, right?
Yeah.
So
So
explain this one.
now you can say that a a hinted argument is nullable, so it accepts null as a value or whatever the declared type is.
Uh-huh.
And that's just finishing up. Null and void would be a valid return value now as well, which it wasn't before. And that's just finishing up the work from 7.0 with the strong typing and the return values.
Yeah. And so there's always been this controversy around if every function should always return something, and if you should not be returning true false, right? There
Right.
was a big push of, hey, don't ever just return true or don't return false, or I think it was really just don't return true. But now you can just not return anything, right?
Yeah.
That's the void function is.
Yeah, and I'm fine by that. I don't mind that at
Yeah.
all. I'm a big fan
So
of class constants.
why do you have to type that in though? Like when you're doing the return, when you're so it's like a type hint where you're saying this should never return anything, right? That's the point of that.
Right. And if you say, variable equals function, then at the linting, I believe, PHP will error out on that,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it allows for IDEs to read the values as well and know that you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I cut you off. What was one of the things you were looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the class constant visibility. So previously, if you had a constant in your class, which I use a lot for models when I define, Boolean fields or status fields 1 through 5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have a constant that says, status open, status closed, status draft, and has
Mm-hmm.
the values associated with it there. But you couldn't previously control the visibility of that. So I have some constants that are internal to the model that are just supposed to be for use by the model. And then I have some constants that are supposed to be globally available so that people can use them to build switch statements
Huh,
and things like that.
got
And
it.
so now you can control the visibility of constants in classes, which is pretty nice.
Cool. Yeah, there's some other cool little features in 7.1. Any are you aware of any backwards break changes between 7 and 7.1?
I don't know if there's any official backwards compatibility breaks. Oh, there we go. There's a list. Yeah, click on
Is
the
there?
link. It just says it. Yeah. Uh, throw on passing too few function arguments. This was an error before or a warning, but now when you don't pass enough arguments to a function, it will throw an exception, a fatal error.
Uh,
Um, forbid dynamic calls to scope introspection functions. Not going to worry about that one.
where are you seeing this? I'm not seeing this list.
PHP.NET manual en migration 7.1
Oh, okay.
incompatible.php.
You're on the
I'm on a
official.
whole new page.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Few incompatibilities. I see it there. Yeah.
yeah, the class and trait names of void and iterable are no longer valid. So if you had a class named Void, then what the hell were you doing in the first place? It's just asking for trouble. Here is an interesting one though: is numerical string conversions now respect scientific notation. So if you're doing some math in your app, you might want to make sure everything's still groovy. And Rand is no longer the old Rand we used to have.
That's what's his name redid that, didn't he? Yeah. What is it now?
Rand is now alias to MT Rand, and SRand is alias to MT SRand.
Yeah, I want to say I think Sammy K from PHP Roundtable had a hand in that. Maybe not. Maybe that was something else. But yeah, I know he did some work on PHP Core, and it had something to do with randomization. I don't remember the specifics of it, but yeah. So I told you we tried to do that rollout of Laravel on the one client, and one of the prep things we had to do before we did that was get the client up to 5.6, which was a challenge in itself. And man, we probably spent a solid month. So they jumped from, I want to say 5.3 to 5.6. It wasn't a massive jump. It wasn't a 4 release to 5 or anything like that. But we probably spent a solid month working on encoding issues. Encoding was a big thing for us. There was a lot of issues with encoding into the database incorrectly, and the fact that the database isn't formatted with the best encoding decisions. I don't know how we're going to ever fix that. Can you actually change? I don't know. Somebody asked, they're like, well, how do we get this to UTF-8? I'm like, I don't know if we can.
I think the encoding type on the field?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
You can?
Yeah, no biggie.
Do you do it table by table, or do you do the whole database?
If I was going to do it on a big database, I'd dump the database, do a string edit, and then dump it back in.
That's funny. That's exactly what I thought about doing. I'm like, we could do a database dump, and mind you, when we do a dump on this database, it's like 6 or 7 gigs. It's a big one. But I'm like, you can do a dump on the database and just do some Vim commands. Let's do a search and replace everything to UTF-8.
Wouldn't want to do it in Vim. Vim will lock up on you.
No, it won't. Come on.
Oh, yes, it will.
Oh, no, it won't. Vim won't lock up on you. What other editor are you going to... Yeah, you could do it that way. You could just do it from the command line.
Yeah, just grep and sed. The other way to do it is just dump out your table structures into a text file and write a series of alter tables based off of that.
Yeah, that was what somebody else had recommended, and I wasn't a fan of that approach. I'm like, man, it just seems like something could go wrong there, but I don't know. We're gonna have to cross that bridge at some point, because it's one of those things where it's not a huge problem day to day, but when you get these little glitches, it becomes a massive inconvenience. It becomes a huge pain in the ass. That's like one of the things we did on a same client, different project, is we kind of didn't want to be too confrontational with another development group who were insisting on going to Postgres. They wanted to move everything to Postgres. And eventually we conceded and said, well, listen, our application is written in Laravel. We're going to handle everything through migrations. So if you guys want to manage to Postgres, then fine. We'll use Postgres. Well, it turns out that other development group is no longer with our client. It's just us. and we're left holding the bag, this Postgres bag. It's like, son of a bitch. So now we have this Postgres, and you might remember a few shows back, I really dove head first into Postgres. I was bound and determined to figure out what was better with Postgres over MySQL. And I can say with a certain degree of confidence that, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, there was a good, solid argument to go with Postgres. If you're a data-driven company, if databases matter to you, there was an argument to be made to use for Postgres. True compliance, blah blah blah. That does not hold water anymore. It just doesn't. I mean, MySQL has really narrowed that gap. And I don't see, there's just not enough overwhelming reason to pick Postgres over MySQL. And if anything, there's more of a reason to pick MySQL over Postgres just based on the tools that are available to you. The tools, the knowledge, the tutorials. I mean, I struggle to find a good Postgres client, a GUI client. And
I don't use GUIs a whole lot, but I know that simple things that I know in MySQL are just vastly different than the stuff in Postgres, like showing the table structure.
Right. It's not a show date or show tables. It's a / I think it's GT or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I mean, that was like a good 15 minutes. I'm like, what do you mean that's not a command? How can that not be a command?
Yeah, I thought that was just an SQL thing, not a Postgres thing or a MySQL thing.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So I've been doing some experimenting on migrating from Postgres to MySQL. And that's not a super simple thing to do either, but it's something
that seems unpleasant.
Doable. It's doable. It's just, fortunately, we're not taking advantage of any like real Postgres specific functionality, and we need to be careful that we don't do that, because I feel like, we're going to want to make that we're going to want to make that change at some point in our, if we're going to stick with this client, which there's no indication that we won't be with this client for a while. So that's all fun day-to-day development stuff, I tell you.
So here's something for you.
Go ahead.
You know what will have occurred by the time this podcast releases?
I would have watched porn.
Close. The 90-minute season finale of Westworld.
Oh man, I told you my opinions of Westworld. I'm gonna watch the season finale.
I don't understand this at all. I don't understand.
I'm done with it. I'm so done with it. I mean, it's just like there's nothing that's holding my interest anymore.
The maze.
Screw the maze.
See, I'm expecting a fantastic finale. Fireworks and guns and everything. You've just written the show off now. They've explained everything that they.
That's it.
That you wanted to know.
It was a great show, but I think it was a 1-season show for me, and I don't.
But it's a 3-season. The whole story is a 3-season arc.
We'll see. I there's just nothing there. There's nothing there that has my interest going. We'll see how the season finale goes. Maybe I'll completely change my mind this time next week. But
what if they end up in medieval land?
That would be awesome. Actually, I would totally watch it.
See, you've just written it off without an open mind.
No, I just said, well, see, I'm going to watch the finale, but there's nothing
begrudgingly.
There for me.
Begrudgingly,
yeah.
All right, man. I think it's a fantastic show.
It was. It was a fantastic show. It was a fantastic.
Still is.
It's over. The show's over.
It's not over.
Let it go.
It's not over.
It's over. You know what else is over? This show.
What?
This podcast.
Oh God. I walked right into that.
It's over. It's over. All right. I think we've had a pretty jam-packed, solid show here. It was a good one.
We really pulled it together.
We actually talked about stuff.
We didn't even dip into our if we need more content tab.
No, I had that there. I might keep that there for a little bit, but yeah. All right. Well, Thomas Rideout,
Eric Van
thank you.
Johnson.
Thank you for joining me for another night of being ugly. I appreciate
It's
it.
my pleasure. If I didn't have you here, I'd just be doing it on my own.
Be ugly by yourself.
Yeah.
All right. This is
Once again, it's a shame John couldn't get his microphone working.
maybe next week,
Good luck
John.
next time. Yeah, we'll see.
That's what we should get John for Christmas. Get him a new mic. Maybe he'll be able to speak next time instead of just having his ugly face.
Get him a babysitter. I think that'll help a little bit more.
I offered my daughters up to him, and he declined. He declined.
Honey, I'm sorry. There's a misunderstanding, but you're now married to my business partner.
I mean, we have to advance this relationship somehow. So, okay, this has been episode 39 of PHP Ugly. I'm Eric Van Johnson.
And I'm Tom Rideout. Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly. All right, don't you go anywhere. We got to talk about some stuff. Hold on one second. Stop broadcasting.